Red light means go. We are live on Facebook on this really awesome segment of The Grateful Chef. Let me stand back a little bit because I'm not in the frame. Eric Eisenbud here, The Grateful Chef. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. My culinary cohorts, thanks for joining in. Please chime in, say hello, ask some questions. Stop me if you want clarity on what I'm doing. Don't hesitate. Maybe say where you're from. It's awesome. We got a whole bunch of new people that came in. We are over 300 members of this group, and it couldn't make me happier and more proud to be able to do this for you and for me, and to bring it and to cook together with you in my kitchen. It's awesome. Sky's the limit, folks. So I have broken out the International Sign of Thanksgiving. This is a wishbone from, I think Lynn says 3 years ago, and I think she's right. So that has been with me for 3 years. It sits in my kitchen, gives me all sorts of good cooking luck and all that type of voodoo. So I'm going to put that back up where it belongs. I'm going to allow some people to join in. Say hello. We have people joining in, Lynn.
Yes, we do. We've got Gary from Stockton, California.
Gary.
And Jeff from Denville Meat Shop.
Fantastic, Jeff.
Craft Butcher.
Excellent. I have a lot of friends who are fans. I have been there myself. Awesome shop in Denville, New Jersey.
And Gary said that our Wi-Fi is good this week.
Yes.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, and let me put out there somewhat of an apology. I've been trying to take the show on the road, and this thing works great on Wi-Fi. We're working on getting it to work. I'm going to try a hotspot, using my phone as a hotspot. We were on a farm on Tuesday, and let's just say their Wi-Fi isn't as good as their cheese. Bobolink Dairy, if any of you have seen the videos that I did, I went and made 80 pounds of sausage with Jonathan White, who is the owner of Bobolink Dairy, and it was a very hard but satisfying day. In fact, I'm using some of the sausage from that day in our entree. This video is about side dishes. We're doing 2 great side dishes, but you know, Lynn, who those of you who don't know, my crack camera woman producer and wind beneath my wings, we need to eat more than just 2 side dishes for dinner. So I got a real special chicken dish that is in the oven right now that'll be coming out real soon. So, yes, Lynn.
We also have Jay Judge.
Hello, Jay, my
brother.
True culinary brother.
Swampnut says hello.
Swampnut.
We also have Jane. And John Brady said, Kitchen Karma.
Yeah, thank you, John. And hello, Jane.
And we also
thanks for tuning in.
Lisa Biondo Craig.
Yes, she's an
old
friend of mine. Nice try.
And we also have Mike Johnson.
Okay, so we are going to get ready to get right to cooking. So I have 2 great dishes for you. A little departure from that traditional dishes that we have, you know, the green bean casserole, sweet potatoes. One of our dishes is sweet potatoes, but it's got a little kick to it. We use the red curry paste from Thailand. It's awesome, and it just gives the sweet potatoes just that little kick that makes them super special. Makes people sit up and say, whoa, what are these? I have modified this recipe because so many people love the humble marshmallow. So we will be putting marshmallows on top. That is departure from the original recipe. So let me just talk about some ingredients. The first dish we're going to get to is the parsnips. Now, for a long time, I thought that parsnips were actually the root of the parsley plant, but they kind of look like it, but they are actually not the root. Parsnips, if you don't know, they are part of the carrot family, the fennel family. Chervil is an herb, similar root. Whoa, hello, very aromatic. And we'll put this over here. I don't need it. Very aromatic. They're in the carrot family. and I just simply peeled them. I do have to cut them down a little bit. This recipe does best with the small parsnips, not the big giant ones. So luckily we had them in the market today. So that's what we're going to do. So we got parsnips, got a little bit of butter. I've got this is thyme, a little thyme we're going to chop up. Got a little flour. I've got a little chicken stock. Now, because I made a chicken dish, what I did was I deboned a chicken, and I took all those bones and I made a little small pot of homemade chicken stock, because that is always better. And we have some half and half and a little bit of flour. So we're going to make a little bit of roux. We're going to finish it with a little nutmeg. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to move over to the cutting board. Lynn?
No, we're moving.
Moving to the cutting board. That was your cue, by the way.
Yes. I'm going to move over here.
Okay. So what I need for this, I just want to see these are thin, these are fat. So I just want to cut the fat pieces into a couple of pieces. Just like this. Real simple. Cut them into quarters maybe. Just like that. And you can zoom in on the cutting board. That would be awesome. You want everything to kind of cook evenly. This is a really fast, quick dish. This does not require to be put into an oven, so you can do it and just keep it warm. It's really cool. It's a marriage between cream spinach and the parsnips just add the different level of flavor because they are so aromatic.
I didn't like them over there.
All right. You move them wherever you think they'll get the best view.
Sorry, guys.
So again, Thanksgiving, I don't know, for you guys, anyone who likes to cook, it's like our Super Bowl. It's like our New Year's Eve. It's like the time where we shine. And you know what? It's a pretty hectic time. It's the beginning of the holiday season. But, you know, just like always in the kitchen, coordination, organization, planning is so key. It's so key. So you don't forget a step. There's so many more steps on Thanksgiving. So it's key, you know, write your stuff down, do a little timeline if you have to, get everything done at the same time. So I also, while we're at the cutting board, I need to add some shallot to this. So I'm just gonna slice the shallot, let them come into rings. You don't have to dice them in this case. I'll just slice it up. We'll break them up into rings. They will break up easily once they're in the heat. It's really cool. Anybody have any questions out there?
Lots of stuff coming
What
in.
do you got?
We've got Chad Griggs coming from someone who is not a seasoned chef or having little culinary experience. Where does a person find some of the ingredients that you use that I can never find at my local grocery store?
So if you can give me a for instance, because I have found, you know, all this stuff I find in my local grocery store. Once in a while I have a couple of what I call culinary gems here in my area in New Jersey, where I can go for specific things. Like I know I got this one pork store that has phenomenal pork. He's got about 24 different flavored bacons. He travels. When he closes in August, he travels specifically to gain information and flavor combinations from countries all over the world. It's pretty cool. I'm sure that if you look hard enough, you'll find those culinary gems. We have a Japanese store about an hour away, which I'll go to for amazing ingredients. But for the most part, you know, Whole Foods sometimes, regular ShopRite, you know, nothing that is too exotic. So, all right, Linny, we are going to,
And
yes?
Jay asked whether or not you use salt in your stock.
This I made an unsalted stock. I like to make unsalted stock. This way I can adjust the salt content as needed. You know, if I have something with bacon in it, bacon has salt, so I won't need a stock that has so much salt. So you are in control. That's why I do that. So we're going back to the stove, checking the temperature on my chicken. It is 149. That's beautiful. So here's what we're going to do. Can I move to this one?
Oh, you're good. Yeah. We
Fantastic.
also have a Joe gift
Hi.
today.
Coastal Southern Cooking.
Yeah.
Just call him Joe from Coastal Southern Cooking.
Yeah, so Mike Johnson's here, and Isaac Ramirez, and Jeffrey Orrell. Keep rocking it out.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I really want to grow this group into something big. If you guys haven't joined my Instagram, I have the Grateful Chef EE Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel. All minimal stuff right now because we just started. So as we go along, the content will be populated in there. Okay, now what I have here is my pan. I got it on the fire. We're going with like a medium flame right now. I just put in a little bit of butter, and I'm adding some oil. I've started using avocado oil. It is a little bit more expensive, but it doesn't leave food greasy. It's got a very high smoke point. I really like it, so when I don't want the floral notes or the sometimes bitterness of an olive oil in the dish, this is really good. Grapeseed oil is good as well. So I'm just making a little bit of oil and a little bit of the butter for flavor. And we're going to get this butter melted.
While you're melting, we also have Justice start with it.
Hello, Justice. What is your sous vide machine creating this evening? I'd love to know. But yeah, also Justice is he's got a great site. It is Gourmet Deconstructed. Hold on, let me shut that off.
And he also mentioned that he loves grapeseed oil. And Justice, we've got grapeseed oil on the other side of the counter.
Fantastic. All right, so this butter I want to get just foaming. You can toast it a little bit, make a little brown butter if you want. That goes really well with parsnips. But I'll turn it up a little bit, see if we get a little toast on there. And the idea behind this is you want to hard sear the parsnips, get a nice char on them. And then we're going to add the liquid and then turn it down and let it simmer. So you hear the butter sizzling. So butter has some water in it, and it's got the milk solids, and those milk solids is what turns a little bit brown. It gets that nutty flavor. So when you see the butter foaming, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see that.
Yes, they can.
You can see that foam. That's the water kind of coming out of it, and this is how you would make clarified butter. All right. So we are going to put our parsnips in. And I'm going to turn that heat up because I really want this to get a nice char on there. So we're going on high for now. I'm tossing them, making sure what I'm going to do so I don't make so much noise is I'm going to use a spoon.
That is so much better.
Yeah, I'm sure that clunking of the pan on the stove doesn't really make for good audio. All right, so I kind of want to put them in a single layer like that. You want as much surface area of the parsnip touching the bottom of the pan. We're going to let this go. I'm going to keep checking my chicken. I want to make sure that it doesn't overcook. Going for about, they say 165 on the chicken. I'm going for about 162, 163, because we'll have carryover cooking. Once you take it out, it continues to cook. You always keep that in mind. All right, so you can see we've got the smoky coming, and already, I don't know if you can see this, you can already see that you've got a little bit of browning going on these parsnips. So that's exactly what you want. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to move to the middle burner so I can be closer and in frame. All right. We're going to let these brown up a little bit. So the next ingredient that we are going to put in is going to be the shallots. And of course, I am checking my recipe on paprika. I told you about the paprika app on our first episode. Again, I want to always reiterate, I am not endorsed by any product or any ingredient that I'm talking about. This is just things that I love that I want to share with you guys. You know, we're all in this together, and you know, I have a real each one teach one attitude towards this group and in life. You know, and that's partly why I volunteer at, you know, to kind of help people out, like at the dairy, and I've been helping out at a local Thai restaurant. The guy's struggling a little bit, and I know that I can, you know, make a difference. So I am actually, I'll be working there on Friday night, and my new hashtag will work for food. So it is true. You know, I'm happy to donate my time and talent, and you know what, I get fed, which is okay with me. Because Thai food is definitely not something that I can cook very well.
I'm hoping you're practicing a lot.
Oh, I will. I'm trying to, you know, get the secrets. But that is not my motivation for being there. All right, so we've got some nice charring going on these. It's awesome. And so I'm going to cook it a little bit. And then I'm going to add the shallots. We want to just get them soft. Those beautiful shallots that I did before. I am going to turn the volume. I am going to turn the temperature down. I'm also going to ask Google to stop the timer. Hey Google, stop the timer.
Potatoes will come out.
Yep, potatoes are going to come out. Let me just get this going a little bit. So I've got the shallots in there. They're also going to add a lot of flavor to this. They're flavoring the oil right now. You just want to get them soft. You can see, I'm going to show you the pan. Beautiful char happening on the, there's a lot of sugar in parsnips, so that sugar is caramelizing. It's exactly what you want. Fantastic, and it smells amazing. Immediately I could smell the shallots. All right, I'm going to let them go. I am going to pull out my sweet potatoes. Right there. That chicken's looking awesome. Skin is looking crisp. It's going to be phenomenal. Let's see what we got in here. Can I see in here?
Yep.
All right, so this looks pretty much like regular sweet potatoes mashed.
I'm going to come in closer.
And once I'm done with the parsnips, oh, you want to come closer? I don't need this. Once we're done with the parsnips, I'm going to go through how to make this dish, so don't you worry. All right, so those shallots are soft. So now what I want to do is I am going to add the stock. I'm going to add the thyme. Turn the temperature up just a little bit because I want that to come to a boil. And once this comes to a boil, I'm going to put the lid on. These parsnips are going to just start cooking.
I'm sorry.
Yes?
This is kind of funny. People are saying that when you told Google to stop the timer,
Yep.
everybody's Google is saying, we don't have a timer.
Now
awesome.
that's hilarious.
Question on grapeseed oil from Lisa Pashota. Hi,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Does grapeseed oil go bad?
I'm going to say yes. I don't know 100% for sure. The only food that I know of that does not go bad is honey. So, and a very interesting thing that you should know about oils in general, the number one cause of foodborne illness is from rancid oil. So I will bet you $1 to a donut that grapeseed oil does go bad. You just have to smell it, just like that milk jug when you dread off, because it stinks. But you just smell it, and if it has an off flavor, off smell, it's most likely bad. All right, so our stock has come to a boil.
We have Sophie with us. She said, hey, Dad.
Hi, So. Where's my lid? Darn.
What do you
It's
think?
right here.
And we also
Right
have
from-
Julie with us, too.
Julie from Sakana,
Uh-huh.
the greatest sushi restaurant in New Jersey, known to mankind.
Indeed.
So much so that we eat there once a week.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Only on nights that she has uni though. No Oni, we're walking out the door. Remember that. We would never do that. Anyway. All right, so I'm going to let these go. These are going to take about, I don't know, 6 minutes or so. So, what I want to do is, we're over here at the sweet potatoes. We're going to put our marshmallows on top. And these are going to go back in. And these are great marshmallows that we found. These are not the, the regular marshmallows that you find in the package at most supermarkets. We actually, and this is one of those things, like I'll go out of my way to get these for this dish. These are from Whole Foods. They are a lot less sweet than the, the general mass marketed marshmallows. So I like that with this dish because the sweet potatoes are sweet enough. There's a little brown sugar in there, a little butter. So we're just gonna dot this up with marshmallows. And I know you've had this dish, Sophie. Thanksgiving at our apartment. All right.
And Paul DeBoni wants to know when you're going to be making the sausage, pepper, and onions with the sausages that you made yesterday.
I don't know. These are like flavored sausage, so I tend to not want to do the typical like Jersey Italian sausage and peps, you know what I mean? So yeah. So I don't know. Maybe with other sausage I will. All right. So we've got our marshmallows on top. Gorgeous. You all know what's going to happen with these. Putting them in. Turn my chicken around. Oh boy, does that look good. All right. No spoilers. I'm going to wait till I pull it.
I was about to show him, but okay.
Yeah.
What's the temperature at?
I don't know, because I just lost connectivity. Oh, there we go. Pulled the plug. 165. Guess what? Chicken's out. All right, wait till you guys see this.
Where are you putting the chicken?
I'm putting it on the stove around there.
Okay.
Ooh, look at that. I'm going to put it down because it burns. All right. Those in. Let them toast up a little bit. Beautiful. Look at this.
Jay, was that a no to the marshmallows?
All right, let me get this out of the way. Let me move over here. And I'm going to take this chicken and put it on a separate pan because I want it to remain cool or not continue to cook on the hot sheet pan. And I will explain all about this chicken when I'm done with the sides. Let's see. Nice.
Crispy.
Very nice. So that'll go over here. It'll rest. I'm going to put a little tent over it.
Let's so you guys can see it.
Chicken. Fantastic. All right.
I'm moving back.
All right. And this is going to go in the sink. Sorry for the noise.
And so we've got Sabrina and Jay.
Hi,
Pepper.
Sabrina.
And Jay Pepper.
And Jay. So this little pot in the back is just going to be a gravy for the chicken. All right. So this is still going. Fantastic. So I am in this pot. I have a little bit of water. I'm going to get it to the boil. About an inch of water because now I'm going to cook the spinach. That happens very quickly. It's already at the boil because I had it hot. And this recipe calls for 10 ounces, and I happen to have a 10-ounce package of baby spinach. Now, I wanted to tell you that I'm not a big fan of baby spinach. So it's a convenience for sure. I am a big proponent of using real spinach,
Baby
curly
spinach
stuff.
Baby spinach is real.
Yeah, but I like the curly stuff with the sand that you got to wash out because you know what? It's got a more velvety texture and a little bit greater of a spinach flavor. All right, so this water is boiling, so I'm just going to put this in. It's going to wilt real quick, and we're going to go over to the sink, strain it out, squeeze it, chop it. There we go. Beautiful. Fantastic. It's already halfway there. Just let that go for a minute. All right, how are these doing? Let's see. Beautiful. So all that stock is pretty much absorbed in here. I want to make sure they're soft. Getting there. I'm going to keep it going, and I think I'm going to add a little tiny bit of water. Actually, I'll add a little more stock, which I have here. And this is where you got to kind of make adjustments. I talked last week about, recipes are just guides. So you got to go with the flow. If it's looking a little dry, add a little bit more. All right, so we've got our spinach is wilted. Yes.
You're coming over this way.
Yep. I'm coming over. I'm going over to the sink. Right here. We're going to strain out the spinach. That's it. There's a little bit left in there. Teflon hands. The reason why I'm pulling every little leaf out, because if I don't, when it's time to wash the pot, it's not so good. All right, it sticks. So we've got this. What I really want to do is I want to press out as much of the water as I can. This is done much easier when it's cool, but we're not waiting that long. And you can see, I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
A lot of water in the spinach, so you basically really want to just squeeze out all that water.
Digested.
You can put some cold water on it if you want to cool it down. We'll use our hands. There we go. You really need to squeeze it out. So far, not a difficult recipe at all. I'm going to check my marshmallows. They should be done very soon. Justice had to leave?
Yep.
All right. So this is relatively dry. Comes together. That whole 10 ounces ends up to be a little dollop here. It's going on my cutting board. I want to check the marshmallows. Because how embarrassing would it be? Oh yeah, baby. Getting there. And turn it around. So it's interesting. So Jay Judge made a comment about the marshmallows. Is that not something that is common in New Mexico? Because it sure is common here. I'd love the answer to that question. All right. So I am back over at the stove. No, actually, let's do this while I'm here. Just going to chop the spinach. Run a knife through it. Okay? And we're going to refer to our recipe. All right. So here I've got a medium saucepan. Want to come back here, babe?
Yep.
Hot. Another medium saucepan. Beautiful. All right, so in the saucepan, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of butter, which I've got right here. This is where we're going to finish the dish. We're going to, again, bring it up. So the butter is sizzling. All right. And what we're doing is making a roux. So to that butter, I'm adding this flour. We're going to whisk it up. We're going to make a nice roux. So back to the gravy. I've got my homemade chicken stock in here with a little bit of butter, and I had taken some garlic cloves and put them in some avocado oil, and I let it slowly come up to temperature, brown the garlic a little bit, because this gravy is a real quick pan gravy. I'm reducing it. It's at a hard boil right now. I want to reduce it down, and then at the very end, season with salt and pepper, and then mash the garlic cloves in there, and that will thicken the gravy, and it's going to be delicious. All right, here we go. Now it's hot. All right, so here we got that sizzling butter again.
And Logan Dorset asked, any recommendations on pans? Good stainless steel set.
I have a mishmash of pans. There was at one point, so let me just stop for a second. I just added the flour to the butter, and I'm basically making a roux. I smell my marshmallows.
Oh.
They're getting there. Almost.
They're giant.
Oh, they puff up. That's what happens. All right, so I had found these Tefal Jamie Oliver pans, which I've been using for years, and I just bought them on a whim. It wasn't that I was looking, you know, my friend had them, recommended them, so I'm like, all right, let me try that. And they've been pretty loyal to me. All right, so now that I have the roux, and I got it a little bit brown, I'm adding the half and half. And you're whisking and whisking, whisking and whisking, because you don't want the roux to be lumpy. So now that I've got the half and half in there, I'm just going to bring it up to a boil, and I'm going to let it thicken. All right, so let's just recap this recipe. So I've got the parsnips with the shallots. I cooked them hard in a little bit of butter and some oil, and then I poured in the stock, and I covered them and let them steam to cook completely through. And now I did the spinach, right? Wilted in an inch of water, real quick, squeezed out the water, chopped it up, and now I have the roux with the half and half, and I'm just letting that thicken slightly. So this is all going to come together. All right. Now, so I whisked in the flour, half and half. Now is the time for the nutmeg. Nutmeg and any kind of thickened milk sauce like bechamel. Really good. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my spinach to the pot with the parsnips.
From Chris Baker. Looking good, Aaron.
Thank you, Chris. Oh, I smell marshmallows. All right. Cooking with my nose. Let's see, they can still go a little bit.
They're crazy big.
I want them to get a little darker brown. All right, so I'm mixing the spinach in with the parsnips. You know, the spinach will break up. I'm going to move this for our next recipe.
Another recommendation on the pans were all-clad from Kevin.
For what?
All-clad? I like all-clad.
All-clad is good. I do have a lot of pans that I do get from Restaurant Depot because they are made, obviously, for commercial applications. They are inexpensive. I'm not a big guy. You know I bought the Jamie Oliver ones, but I'm not big on spending extra money just for the name of a celebrity or, you know, or somebody like that. So, you know, I wouldn't say go out and buy any one particular pan. A lot of times the celebrity has nothing to do with the pan itself. So, another great source for me, believe it or not, is the thrift store. That's the first section I go to see what kind of pans. I've gotten copper pans, I've gotten stainless steel pans, I've gotten cast iron pans, you name it. All right, so I want this to thicken just a little bit more. Beautiful. And this dish is almost done. And again, you don't have to bake this afterwards, you know, so you're just basically making it up, doing the components, combining the components, and then I'm going to add that beautiful cream sauce to it. Turn it down until the cream sauce is nice thick. And I'm going to season with salt and pepper. As always, I'm going to season the parsnips. Crack in some pepper. Now, I'm going to pour in the cream sauce. Look at that. Again, getting a towel because that thing's hot. Yeah, so again, the parsnips and the spinach combination, really, really nice. Fantastic. That looks really good. Who doesn't love a little cream spinach, right?
If you move the pan, I'll come in close.
All right.
There we go.
So I do want this to thicken just a little, so I'm going to put the fire back on, really low, so it can sit there and simmer a little bit. But I mean, it's delicious. Let it thicken a little bit. Check out my gravy, getting there. And I'm going to take the marshmallows out. Notice I call them marshmallows, right? Woo! These will collapse.
Do you need another towel?
Nope. Look at that. How could that be bad? Right. Yeah, so those will collapse down.
We lost a marshmallow.
Oh, it's on the bottom of the oven too. Awesome. Let's
Can you retrieve that?
can use the long tongs for that. Success. And guess what?
Huh.
It's not burnt.
It did not stick to the bottom of the oven.
It did not stick to the bottom of the oven. It's going right back on there. All right. You never know what will happen in the kitchen. Always be prepared. This is going to the back. That is done. Okay. Now, while these parsnips are going, let's get to how to make the sweet potatoes. All right, it's getting nice and thick. I'm going to put the cover on, and I'm going to turn it off.
Am I joining you back on the other
Yes.
board?
Join me back there. All right. So I'll bring this over there. Clean up. So, what I have in here is a half a cup of coconut milk and about a tablespoon of Thai red curry paste. You want to bring that up to temperature just to warm it up.
Is the Thai red curry paste what makes it?
Yep, that's what makes it red. That's what adds that little kick to it. It's a little sweet, it's a little heat. It's really, really good. Now the coconut milk, you know, we're not talking Coco Lopez, you know, the stuff you would use to make margaritas, daiquiris? I don't know. I don't drink, so I don't know. You want the unsweetened coconut milk. I'm going to bring this up to temperature. Let that warm up. And what that's going to do is, once that comes to temperature...
Paul said your marshmallows look like dinner rolls.
Mmm.
And
Not a
from
bad
Scott,
idea.
oh man, that looks gooey.
Yeah. Alright. This looks really good. It has reduced considerably. I'm going to turn that way down.
You may come over and look at that with you or no?
Yeah, we're good.
Alright.
So I'm just bringing up the coconut milk and the Thai red chili paste. Here I have the sweet potatoes that I just put on a tray. I didn't do anything to them, didn't poke them, didn't do anything. For about an hour and 15 minutes until they're very soft inside. take them out once they're cool enough, pull the peel off. The peel almost separates from the meat. And we're gonna go ahead and put that into our bowl. So this is about 2 pounds. And we're gonna mash them up. And what's gonna happen is once that coconut milk is up to temperature, we're going to put in a little bit of brown sugar and some butter. And the heat from that will melt the sugar and the butter, and that's pretty much it. Bake it in the oven covered with foil for about 30 minutes or so. So this is done. This is hot. Bringing it over. And you can leave it as smooth or as chunky as you want. I don't mind a little chunky sweet potatoes. Okay, so we are going to put in that coconut milk and the Thai chili paste. And then we're going to throw in the butter. So the original recipe called for doing half the amount of butter and half the amount of brown sugar. And then at the end you put the brown sugar and butter on top instead of the marshmallows. So I omitted the brown sugar on the top, and I'm just going to add it in here. So I'm just going to crumble it in. Did get a little dried up sitting out here under the hot studio lights. All right. So I'm using my rubber spatula. Going to scrape and fold just to get that butter and the brown sugar melted. This will also break up the sweet potatoes a little bit more. And I'm using room temperature butter. I like to, like I'll pull out a stick or two of butter before I start cooking, let it come to room temperature. Okay, I am going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to this.
What I like about it is that it's really close to that traditional that I grew up with, but you add that little bit of extra spice and it just changes it up ever so slightly that I love it.
It does, yeah. So do I. And a lot of folks, I know that my family, they add like crushed pineapple and stuff to it, and it makes it super, super sweet. And to me, listen, I love it because it's tradition, it's what we grew up on, but it just takes away from the natural sweetness of the sweet potato, which in my mature culinary years, I'm all about respecting the ingredients, so I'm all for that. So you basically just going to put it into your baking dish, like so. Don't worry if you see some butter or some brown sugar in there, because that'll all come out in the wash once you bake it. Okay, fantastic. Spread it out evenly. Now I use this pan specifically because I'm doing the marshmallow thing. I wanted to leave plenty of room for the marshmallows. All right. Fantastic. So this will get covered with foil. That is enough foil. And this takes about 20 minutes in a 375 degree oven. Okay? And once that is done, you'll take the top off, put your marshmallows on like you saw me do, put it back in the oven, keep your eye on it. I don't recommend broiling because it could be a recipe for disaster if you turn away for 3 seconds too long. And so just let it gently do what it does.
The other fun thing is don't put the marshmallows on too early or it'll look like the ones your mom made.
Oh yeah.
Where she ended up with 2 layers of melted marshmallows.
Right, so if you put the marshmallows on now, what'll happen is it'll bake in the oven and the marshmallows will sink and melt and you're left with sweet potatoes with a bunch of holes in the top. So you always want to do the marshmallows as a separate thing. Alright. You can use Certainly could have used mini marshmallows too, but like I said, I prefer these marshmallows over the marshmallows that are commercially available.
Whole Foods has both mini and the big.
Oh, okay. So we could have used the minis.
I like the big ones.
So basically, this gravy that I made is a garlic gravy. It's really delicious. You can use it a million different ways. Do this for meatloaf. You could add sauteed mushrooms to it. Make like a garlic mushroom gravy. And again, I'm not looking for super smooth. I don't mind that you got pieces of garlic in there. They've been cooked, so they're nice and sweet.
I'm coming over.
All right. You want to see?
Yeah.
And you can see, this started out, sorry. This started out as 2 cups of chicken stock, and you'll really let it reduce, and you can see it's got that nice viscous. And what you can do, and it's very common in pan sauces like this, you can add a little bit of butter at the end, just because why not?
Makes it silky.
And what it does is it adds sheen, and it makes it nice and smooth. But do it off the flame, otherwise the butter can separate. So you just, this is called mounting it with butter. So you just want to mount it with butter, and it can add a whole different dimension to it. We're going to taste it because I do believe I need to season it. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
And Lois Cannon, hi chef.
Who? Lewis?
Yep.
Hello, Lewis. All right. Doesn't need salt. But I also want to show you, when you're checking the viscosity, you dip a spoon and see if it holds a line, like that. That's how you know it's thick. And you can gauge the thickness by that. All right, we are plating. How's that sound?
Ah, sounds fantastic.
All right.
Where are we plating?
I'm going to plate right here at the cutting board.
I'm going to move back then.
Okay. Ooh. Okay, so normally, if you were serving to your guests, you can take the parsnips and the spinach, put it in something like this, make it nice and pretty, but since it's just Lynn and I, I'm going to plate right here. And we're going to cut into the chicken. And you can see just by sitting there, you can see that the hold on, let me get us into a frame here. You can see that, you know, everything came together. It's beautiful. You know, it's nice to have a little green color in there. Admittedly, the roux that I made, I think it went a little bit too brown for this dish. I would prefer it to be a little white, but c'est la vie, such is life. All right, so we are putting on this delicious dish. It's pretty rich too, wouldn't you say, Lynn?
Oh, it's delicious. How much is that?
No, I made this whole chicken thing.
Everything's delicious.
All right, we got that.
And Vicky says thanks for the hold the line trick.
Oh, awesome.
And Sean asks, is that duck fat spray?
That is duck fat spray.
Oh,
so rather than baste the chicken, duck fat, and it sprays on just like Pam or any of those things. And so when I would go and to rotate the pan, I'd just spray a little little duck fat. This stuff is awesome. I just got some. I know Joe from Southern Coastal Cooking uses it as well. It's really great stuff. All right.
Where does one buy duck fat spray?
I bought mine on Amazon, of course. And I do believe I saw it in Whole Foods. So clearly I could have put some more marshmallows on here. But it's all good. Kids love the marshmallows, and they're crunchy on top and gooey. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's pull these off the top. They're stuck to the side, which is perfectly fine. Just want to get down to the...
And Jay just ate fillets and he's jealous.
Sorry, Jay.
And
Too
Scott,
bad you live so far away.
yeah, Scott, what about truffles?
What about truffles?
I'm not sure. It says truffles and 3 question marks. So, not sure.
Where can I use truffles in this? I can use truffles in this menu, certainly with the chicken. It's fantastic.
Would you
Not on the sweet potatoes.
How about the spinach?
It could possibly go with spinach. You know, I think truffles when I think mushrooms, right? So I don't know if you, I guess you could do like a cream, you know, add the mushrooms to that and be perfectly okay.
And you said there are no truffles in this. That's correct. No truffles.
Yep. No truffles this time. All right, so we've got our sweet potatoes. Looking phenomenal. Now, let's see this baby. Still a little hot.
This is the duck fatted chicken.
The duck fatted chicken. So what I did was, I deboned a whole chicken. Took my time. So I made a filling using some of the sausage that I made yesterday. So we had some sage maple, or maple sage, all made with pork, whey fed, not grain fed, you know, from Jonathan White at Bobolink Dairy. And so he had the regular pork sausage, and we had some of the maple sage. To me, sage and turkey or sage and chicken go together extremely well. So I figured, why not? So I made a filling with the sausage, with a little bit of garlic, some rice. I had a rice medley, which was like japonica rice, and it was some wild rice and some basmati rice, and I cooked that, just like I would regular rice, but I added dried cranberries to it, and it was really great.
Absolutely amazing.
I had some sage leaves. I cut that up. I sauteed in a separate pan some onion and a little bit of celery seed because I didn't have celery in the house, so I threw the celery seed in there. And I let Lynn taste it, and she almost ate the whole thing, so I didn't have enough to put in the chicken. I had to
You shooed me away.
shoot her away for sure.
Yeah, and Sean Margalit says you're the man. Jason Dionier looks fantastic. And another person that really wants to know who does the dishes after this. So, babe, who does the dishes?
The very beautiful and multi-talented wind beneath my wings. Did I tell you she's the wind beneath my wings? Lynn Klingman. Well, we kind of do it together. I
Yes,
can't
you do.
lie. So
My favorite story is when you thought that I loved doing dishes. Because when we first met, I kept doing dishes. And you're like, but you love doing dishes. And then I told you I didn't.
look at that. Quickly, because it's hot. Look at that. Awesome.
Yes.
So basically, listen, I don't debone a chicken every day, so it's not something I can do like Jacques Pepin and do it in 4 knife cuts in about 6 minutes. So I took my time, felt my way around the bone, used the boning knife, and then I tied it up. And I use, for those of you who don't know, these elastic ties that I buy from an online retailer called Amazon, and they make my life easy. I do occasionally use regular butcher's twine. I have a giant roll of it, depending on what it is, but for something like this, to be able to take the elastic ties, double up on them, and just slip them on, beautiful, perfect use for them. All right, look at this, babe.
That looks amazing.
So it's slicing very beautifully. It's holding together nicely. Looks like it is quite undry, because I don't like the word moist, but it is quite undry. Get our little gravy.
How about juicy?
It is quite juicy. All right, here we go.
Is deboning a chicken something people would want to see on one of your Facebook Lives, do you think?
That would be up to them, because to me it takes a while, so it might become, dare I say, boring. There are plenty of videos out there for it. Look at that. I'm going to finish up with a little dusting of nutmeg over the parsnips. And, because this is the kind of guy I am, we're going to try on half of mine a little truffle zest. And I will let you know if truffle works with the parsnips.
Okay.
None for you.
That's all right.
All right. Now I need a knife and a fork because I'm sure you guys are dying to see how great this tastes. And normally on a show type situation, a television or whatever you want to call it, that even if it tastes like shoe leather, they're going to say it tastes good. But trust me, the Grateful Chef, I will tell you where I've gone wrong with the roux, for instance, went a little too brown. And I will also tell you if this doesn't meet my expectations. So here we go. Let's try this, man. Very tender. I can tell it's juicy. So I did go to 165. Get a little bit of this filling with the delicious sausage from Bobolink.
Can you bring it in for a close-up? I did a close-up earlier, but of the nice chicken. Yes. You guys smell that?
It's hot, so. Super moist. Hate that word. I added pecans. And I said pecans because Joe from Southern Coastal Cooking's watching. And if it said pecans, he would message me immediately. But I added pecans to it, so the pecans stayed crunchy. The rice is beautiful. The sausage, that maple sage sausage comes through, but it's very subtle. In discussion with Jonathan, he thinks he maybe added a little too much sage, but so it became sage. It became sage maple. But I think the blend is absolutely perfect. So works great with chicken. Let me try the parsnips with the truffle so we can go on record, see if we like it. It does work. It works very well. Love it. So yes, we can use truffles in this dish. And then of course the dessert as a side dish kind of thing.
So nothing sucks tonight?
No, not too sweet. I'm waiting for the heat. A little bit of heat at the tail end. Other than that, it's not so fiery that the people that are kind of sensitive to temperature, like beautiful and lovely Wind Beneath My Wings, Lynn, it's totally palatable for them. So anyway, I want to wish you guys and your families a wonderful Thanksgiving. Cook your hearts out. Love your family. Enjoy the time off of work. Just have a really beautiful time. I am so grateful and thankful to you guys. Certainly at this time of year, but always. Otherwise, I wouldn't be the Grateful Chef. Keep on trucking. Be well. Eat well. And I will see you, not next week because Thanksgiving, but the following week we'll get together again. We'll cook in the kitchen. We'll see what we can drum up. Have a great night. Peace all.